What if the words that changed your life weren't shouted in a song or printed on a headline, but spoken quietly, almost as if they weren't meant for the world to hear at all? Imagine this. You're in a crowd of thousands, the lights dim, and the music fades. And then a voice says something that stops you cold. It's not poetic, it's not polished, but somehow it cuts straight through the noise and finds the part of you that's still holding on to the weight of someone else's opinion. You are not the opinion of someone who doesn't know you. Those 11 words spoken by Taylor Swift, not as a pop star but as a human being, have traveled across time, across screens, across broken hearts and busy minds. And in their simplicity, they have set people free. Because here's the truth. Most of us don't carry our own stories. We carry the stories others wrote for us. The labels, the assumptions, the misinterpretations, a cruel comment from years ago, a dismissal that still echoes, a reputation that stuck even when it wasn't true. So here's the real question. What would it take to finally put that burden down? What if letting go isn't about pretending it didn't hurt? What if it's about no longer letting it define you? In today's episode of Mindful Way TV, we'll explore how that one quote from Taylor isn't just wise, it's a doorway. Through 3 stories drawn from her own life, we'll uncover the mindful art of letting go. Not to forget, not to escape, but to reclaim yourself. Let's begin with reputation. Previously, we uncovered how Taylor Swift took control of her own story by releasing the grip of reputation and public judgment. But what if the past you struggle to escape doesn't come from what others said about you, but from something deeper, quieter, something you once lived and now can't stop reliving? This is where we enter the realm of memory, not just memory as information, but memory as emotion. Memory that lingers like a scent on your favorite sweater. Memory that burns in silence when the world expects you to move on. To understand this, look no further than All Too Well. At face value, yes, it's a breakup song, one of her most loved. But at its core, All Too Well isn't really about a relationship. It's about the haunting persistence of memory. The way a moment can loop inside your head, not because you choose to remember, but because it refuses to leave. In the original version, there was heartbreak, but in the 10-minute version, released nearly a decade later, we find something else entirely: depth, nuance, growth. Taylor doesn't scream. She doesn't beg for pity. She walks through the ruins. She lets herself feel every cracked frame of that memory, and somehow she finds beauty in it. Key lyric. Maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much. There's no blame there. Just curiosity. Just the human ache of not knowing if things could have gone differently. And in that openness, she lets go. Not of the event, but of needing to rewrite it. In interviews, Taylor has said something profound. I don't write songs to stay in pain. I write them to process pain. That's the heart of mindfulness right there. Mindfulness doesn't ask you to delete your past. It asks you to sit beside it, to observe it, to learn from it, and then gently to release your need to fix it. Pain is sticky. Sometimes our minds treat pain like a riddle we're supposed to solve. What if I had said this instead? What if I hadn't left? What if I had stayed? But life doesn't offer do-overs. It offers reflection. And All Too Well is reflection made musical. It is vulnerability turned into strength. It is the sound of someone holding the past in her hands, not to preserve it, but to finally put it down. Mindful reflection. Letting go of the past isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about honoring the lesson and releasing the grip it has on your present. So let me ask you, what memory do you keep on repeat, not because it brings joy, but because it once brought pain? And what would change if you let it be what it was and set yourself free from needing it to be anything else? In the next chapter, we'll take a deeper dive, not into memory, but into identity, the masks we wear, the roles we cling to, and the power in surrendering who we thought we had to be. In our last chapter, we explored how letting go of the past is not about forgetting, but about freeing ourselves from the stories we keep replaying. But what happens when the story isn't a memory from the past, but a mask we wear in the present? This is where letting go becomes truly personal, not about what happened to us, but about what we chose to become in response to the world's expectations. There's a raw and revealing moment in Taylor Swift's documentary, Miss Americana. She sits on camera, vulnerable and reflective, and asks the question many of us never dare to say out loud: why have I spent so many years trying to be liked? She's not talking about superficial approval. She's talking about the deep, constant hunger for validation, from critics, from fans, from award shows, from the endless gaze of an audience that seems to always want more. For years, Taylor curated her image carefully, polished, controlled, flawless, the perfect role model, the good girl, the hit maker. She mastered the performance of perfection, but it came at a cost. Then something shifted. Slowly but surely, she began letting go of the version of herself the world had come to expect. She stopped filtering her opinions to keep people comfortable. She began speaking out about politics, risking backlash to stand up for what she believed in. She started writing music not for the charts, but from the soul. Key lyric: I want to be defined by the things that I love. That lyric isn't just beautiful, it's liberating. It's a manifesto. It's a refusal to be boxed in by roles or public perception. And it's an invitation for the rest of us to ask, what if I too could be known not by what I've achieved or survived, but by what makes my heart light up? Because so many of us, like Taylor, wear invisible costumes. We play the parts handed to us. The reliable one, the ambitious one, the always smiling one. We carry those roles for years, sometimes decades, without realizing how heavy they've become. We say yes when we want to say no. We push through when we're burnt out. We smile when we feel broken. Why? Because we believe we have to. Because we think being enough means being everything to everyone. But what if letting go isn't failure? It's freedom. What if taking off the mask means finally breathing on your own terms? Taylor's journey reminds us that identity isn't fixed. It's fluid. It's allowed to evolve. You're allowed to change, to shift, to grow. And you're allowed to walk away from the person you pretended to be in order to become who you truly are. So many of us are trapped by roles we never consciously chose. We inherited them. We absorbed them. We thought we had to become them to be loved, respected, accepted. But the truth is, the world doesn't need your performance. It needs your presence. So I ask you now, gently and honestly, who are you outside of the roles you've been playing? What would happen if you gave yourself permission, not to be impressive, but to be real? As we move toward our final reflection, we'll look at what it means to not only let go of stories and roles, but to choose new ones with intention, to rewrite your narrative with mindful clarity, and create a future that aligns with who you are becoming, not who you've been. Letting go, such simple words, yet so incredibly hard to do. Because letting go doesn't just mean walking away. Sometimes it means standing still long enough to feel what hurts, to admit that something no longer fits, to whisper to yourself, "I don't need this anymore," even if you held it for years. Through Taylor Swift's journey, we've seen that letting go isn't a single act. It's a process, a practice, a quiet revolution that begins from within. She let go of her reputation when the world tried to drown her in noise. She let go of the pain that once defined her lyrics and turned it into art. She let go of the expectations that chained her creativity and gave herself permission to evolve. And maybe that's the most radical part of all. Not just choosing peace, but giving yourself permission to grow. So take a deep breath with me. Right now, wherever you are, just inhale, hold it, let it go. Let go of the version of you that was always trying to prove something. Let go of the voice in your head that says you need to be perfect. Let go of the memory you've replayed 1,000 times, wishing for a different ending. You are not someone's careless words. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the image you forced yourself to maintain. You are your courage to start again. You are your softness in a world that demands hardness. You are your breath, your stillness, your awareness. Letting go doesn't make you weaker, it makes you wiser. Because every time you choose to release what no longer serves you, you make space for healing, for clarity, for joy. And this space, this is where your new story begins. If something in this video stirred something in you, a memory, a feeling, a tiny spark of yes, then you're not alone. This is a space for people like you, people who want to grow without burning out, people who want to feel without apology, people who want to heal slowly, gently, honestly. So subscribe to Mindful Way TV. Let's keep going together. Share this video with someone who's struggling to let go. Leave a comment and tell us, what are you releasing today? Or maybe just take another breath and let this moment be enough. Thank you for sharing your presence with us. Until next time, stay soft, stay grounded, and always stay true.